NASA had trouble launching their newest moon rocket, which was scheduled for its first uncrewed test mission. They'll need at least a few weeks before the engine can be repaired and attempt to test again. One potential explanation of the delay is that it's due to quirks in timing, like other conference plans. Another possible theory is that traffic at the launch pad could be a problem, and as a result, NASA wants to check for any new problems with its fuel leaks. To summarize what happened this Saturday, launch officials went confidently into this weekend's launch of the SLS rocket. But then there was an issue loading the rocket with super-cold liquid hydrogen. But eventually, the space agency will still need to roll the rocket back to the nearby vehicle assembly building, a 4.2-mile trip that takes roughly 10 hours, in order to reset the system's batteries, according to a statement from NASA. And when it comes to setting a new launch date, timing will be tricky. Timing can be everything. Rockets can only launch on specific days. For example, there is a specific window of time set aside each day when the rocket is permitted to launch. These windows vary from about half an hour to a few hours. However, these windows don't always open up for the day, so they need to be flexible about timing. There are also specific times, which are spans of days, when the moon lines up with the Earth in a way that's favorable for this mission. NASA said there was no way the SLS would be ready to fly during the latest launch period, which ended on Tuesday, September 6, and now Artemis, as next launch attempt, may not happen until later this year. The next launch period is from September 19 to October 4. But there's another potential issue with that. NASA has plans to launch its Crew 5 mission on October 4, which is scheduled to take a fresh crew of astronauts to the ISS via a SpaceX rocket. NASA will have to make sure not to schedule launches where one could interfere with the other. Later in October, another launch period will start. Launches usually happen during morning and afternoon local times, so check for available launch windows a few days before. This time, there are 11 possible launch windows. NASA says they must reach a consensus with SpaceX before knowing which window they'll launch into. They'll also need to wait until the SLS rocket is fixed and can return to the launch pad. The SLS rocket relies on a huge amount of supercooled liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen to be pumped into the tank. When loading the hydrogen, the fuel begins pumping in slowly, but then ramps up its speed in what's called a fast fill. And it was during that fast fill that a large leak occurred, bigger even than the leaks that NASA identified during the August 29 launch attempt. That's why launch officials want to find a fix for the issue before the next attempt. One theory is that during the leak detection procedure, the hydrogen may have been overpressured to 60 psi instead of 20 psi. The SLS rocket encountered some issues during its first launch attempt in August. NASA has been working to find a solution to their problems. They addressed leaks that occurred during fuel filling and looked into risks posed by an engine cooling system issue and a crack on the foam coating of one of the rocket's tanks. NASA will want to address these issues as it prepares for a new launch attempt. As a result of the occupation of the Florida weather, it has been difficult to pinpoint a specific launch date. Rough winds, lightning, or other inconveniences can increase the time needed for preparation or delay launches altogether. Late summer brings hurricanes to Florida. This is rocket science. As NASA officials have said before, they're hoping to convey that the delays and technical issues don't necessarily point to a significant issue with the rocket. Before the SLS rocket program, NASA had a history of launching space shuttles that were often scrubbed. SpaceX Falcon rockets also had a history of being aborted for mechanical or technical issues. This is, after all, rocket science. NASA Associate Administrator added that his team will always go into a launch attempt optimistic that liftoff will occur. I'm sure there's going to be a question of, are we confident, he said. I actually love that question because it's like asking, are you confident you were going to get out of bed this morning? This mission, called Artemis I, is expected to pave the way for numerous other missions to the moon. The Artemis I mission, slated for as early as next year, is expected to follow a similar flight path around the moon, but will carry astronauts on board. NASA expects to launch Artemis IL in the following years, and it will land astronauts on the moon's surface for the first time in 50 years. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to channel.